Hi everyone, welcome back to the Book Vandal Shop. This is part 6 of our Seaside Memories file folder journal. So where we left off is I had covered these pocket flaps. And then now what we want to do is let's do the signatures. Because after we get the signatures in and we do the finishing of the spine, then the rest of it really is just embellishing. So I went ahead and cut off, the white border of this paper and then this paper that was in the kit. I think I need to back my camera up a little bit. But I cut the white borders off and I folded those in half, and then I have, let me back you up. And then I have found some papers to put in for signatures for the journals. So I think I have roughly between 10 and 12 papers here. Anything between, 10 and 15 is probably a good number, depending on if you're going to add any embellishing to your pages. So if you're just going to use your signatures for journaling in and you're not going to add any embellishing in them or glue anything inside of them, then you could probably do 15 or more papers in there. So anyway, I have my signatures prepped and ready to go. I have some waxed string. Any string will work great. I used to use upholstery thread quite a bit because it would hold up really well. Cotton thread does sometimes, especially if it's not really super high quality good cotton thread, sometimes it gets a little weak, and cotton is known to do what we call dry rot a little bit. So I really like upholstery thread. It holds up. But lately, the last several journals I've done, I've been using craft lace, which I get in the leather goods department. It's a waxed thread. I honestly couldn't tell you what the thread is made of. It's just super thick, super high quality. Like, it comes in this big thick thread, but you can separate it into about 4 pieces or 4 separate threads. And they are really high quality and they're pre-waxed. I don't know. That's been my go-to lately. So anyway, that aside, what we're going to want to do is in our journal, we're going to the first folder right here. And I'm going to use the blue journal signature cover page, whatever, and it just depends on what paper you're using. So whichever one you want to put in this spot, this is the one I'm going to put in this spot. The first thing I'm going to do is, and if you have a book cradle, that's great. I have one too. I'm just not going to dig it out for, doing just this little bit. When I do big journals, I do. And I'm just going to poke my needle through, make a center hole. Make sure I got that straight. Yep, okay. I'm going to go about 1 inch from the bottom and make another hole. And about 1 inch from the top and make another hole. So there I have 3 holes. Okay, and if you want to clip it all together, that's great. Now I'm going to bring it over to my folder. And I'm just going to line my signature up about where I want it, this ways, back and forth, up and down. And then I'm just going to mark where I just punched my holes at. I'm going to mark that on my folder so that my holes will line up. Okay. So I marked here, here, and here because that's where my holes line up. And I'm going to punch my holes in my folder. I'm going to go dead center of that little tiny spine that we made. I'm going to go dead center in it, and I'm going to punch my holes just where I marked, right in the center of the little spine. And there's lots of different ways to sew in signatures for journals. You use your method that works for you. There's, yeah, lots of tutorials out there that can help you and will better explain, but you know, this wasn't supposed to be a beginner's tutorial, so I will go ahead and sew this one in with you guys, and then I'll sew the other one in. There we go. There's my paper clip. I like to tie a paper clip on the end of my string. I've been doing this paper clip thing for years. I tie the paper clip onto the end of my string. Then when I thread it through the hole, I can pull and tug as much as I want, and I'm not going to pull my thread through. I hate it when I pull my thread through and then I have to start over. So I'm just going through the center hole and coming out the back. And I'm not worried that my stitches are going to show because we're going to put that nice pretty cover on our spine. So there's my paper clip stopping everything. Go out one hole. I'm going to go back in either the top or the bottom hole of the folder and the signature. You guys use whatever kind of stitch you want. You can want to use 5-hole stitch. 5-hole stitch will work. Whatever you want to do. Okay, I'm going back out. Now I'm going back in. You know, this isn't a, you know, there's a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and then there's just, you know, a simple 3-hole stitch. Whatever you guys want to do. Okay. And now I'm just going to run it underneath that one. Slide my paper clip off and tie that up. And then if you want for extra good measure, you can always put a little spot of glue on your tie if you think it's going to move. That's why I like waxed thread, because the waxed thread kind of helps hold it. And if you want to give it one more go around, you can go underneath your stitches there and give it another tie if you want to. Okay, and I'm just going to clip my threads. Not super long, I mean not super short. Just going to clip them off there. Okay, so that's the first signature in there in the front, and I'm going to go ahead and sew the back one in. I'll do that off of camera, and then I'll come right back, okay? Okay, so the second signature, excuse me, is all sewed in, and I did that in the third folder, the one in the back. And then the center folder I'm leaving like this, and then the first folder had the first signature in it. Okay, so now that that's done, I want to kind of cover up this spine and make it a little bit decorative. So you should have a piece of file folder left over that's about 5 1/4 by the full length. Should have. If not, a piece of cardstock will work great for this. Okay, and I'm not going to give you measurements on this. I'm just going to show you how I kind of cheated doing it. So I set my journal flat on top of it so that my spine was flat. Okay, and then I marked on this side and then mark on this side, and that gave me the width for my journal. Okay, then so I want a flat piece here, and then I want it to fold over onto the front. And so depending on where you glued this section down, this measurement here might be different for you. So if you glued yours farther over this way, then this might be wider, or vice versa. So from where I glued mine down here to the corner or the edge is a little less than, or it's a little more than 3/4. So I'm going to go 3/4, and that gives me just a smidgen of room before it hits this. So I'm going to go 3/4. And so basically I want the flat part, which we already measured that width here, and then I want 3/4 to wrap around this way. And just so it looks the same on the other side, I'm going to give it 3/4 to wrap around on this side as well. So here was my width. I'm going to zoom you down. Ooh, I think I need to get that a little grease. Sound like a creaky door off the Addams Family. Okay. So there was one of my marks, and 3/4 that way. Okay, so this will be where I fold, this will be where I cut that off. And then this was the other side of my journal, and I wanted to give it 3/4. So I'll give it 3/4. This will be where I fold, this will be where I cut, and that's what I throw away. Okay, hang on, I'm going to cut this. Okay, so I cut there, and then these were the lines that I measured for the width of my spine. Okay, so I ended up with 3/4 on this side and 3/4 on that side. So I'm going to go up here to the top, and you could get out a scoreboard. If you have a scoreboard, great. Line this up on a scoreboard and score 3/4 of an inch here and 3/4 of an inch on this side. I'm not going to dig mine out. It's just too big. And I'm really not sure where it's at the moment. So I'm just going to mark up here what's 3/4 in from the edge. I'm going to go over here and mark 3/4 in from the edge. Okay. And then if I hold my ruler, let me back you up. If I hold my ruler on the mark I just made at the top, and I hold my ruler down here at the mark at the bottom, then I can just use my stylus or my bone folder, and I can score a line using my ruler. Okay, go over here to this one. I'm going to hold my ruler at the mark I made at the top, 3/4 in. Mark I made at the bottom, 3/4 in. And score it. That just gives me a nice crisp corner. Okay, now I'm going to bring my book back in. I'm going to set this down in my book like that, and I'm going to line up the bottom edges. You can measure, you can do measuring if you want to. Okay, I'm lining up my bottom edges. Maybe just a smidgen of overhang there, or something's not quite squared up, I don't know. Let me do this one. Let's see if that squares up a little bit better. Come on, scoot down, scoot down. Well, if you're super, super, super perfectionist, you could trim that teeny tiny hair off that's overhanging, but I'm not, because I'm going to wrap this anyway, so. All right, so I've got it lined up on the bottom. I come up here to the top, and then this is where you have to decide. Are you making your spine cover that extra center folder that's taller than, you know, the others back here in the back? If you do, this is not going to be supported right here, see? Or if you cut it off, cut your spine off to the height of this, then it's supported. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to worry about this center folder there. So I'm just going to mark to the top of my first couple of folders. Let me move you again. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Okay. I'm marking right here. Right there. Now you can mark here if you want to, if you want it to be that tall. It's up to you. But I don't think it's going to be very supported on the corners right here if you do that. So I'm doing mine down here where my other folders are at. Okay. And I'm just going to cut that off, cut the height off. Hang on. Okay. So now I have my height. I'm going to move my journal out of the way for a minute. And then here is what you can do, depending on, let me back you up again. Hang on. Depending on what, depending on what papers you're using. So if you've got some matching fabric that you want to use, that's awesome. So, you know, if you want to wrap it, you could totally just glue the file folder on. You can ink it and glue it on. I'm going to ink mine. And then I'm going to wrap mine in some lace because I don't have a good matching fabric for my paper set here that I'm using. But if you are using fabric, I'm going to show you how to glue it, just like I'm going to glue my lace to where it doesn't, you don't have glue seepage. Okay, hang on. Let's just go ahead and ink this, just this little bit on camera here. I'm just, because it's going to peek through my lace. If you're using a solid color fabric, you know, your file folder piece is not going to show at all, then there's no need to ink it. But I'm going to use a lace and my folder is going to show through a little bit. So I'd like to have it inked underneath there. I had thought about using burlap, which matches what I used here on the front. And I even tried, I mean, I made one and I glued it. And it works, but what I'm afraid of is this burlap likes to unravel, you know, because it's just woven. It's just a weave, and so it's unraveling already at the corners, so I really don't think it would hold up to long-term use. So I was like, yeah, I like the look, but I don't think it's really going to work for in the long run. So I do have some of this lace, and put this pin some more so I don't lose it. I think it matches the collar great. And, you know, I've already got the sari silk that's kind of feminine anyway. So I think the lace will be just fine. So I'm just going to roll myself out some of this. And I'm going to put the side that's going to show down. And if you're using a solid color fabric, you'll want to do yours just like this too. That way you don't have glue seeping through on your fabric side. Okay. So we're just going to set it down, get a measurement, cut your fabric so it's a little bit bigger all the way around. Okay. And if we wrap it and glue it here on the back side, none of your glue will show. There's really no need for there to be glue on this side as long as there's plenty of glue on the back side to hold it all in place. So hopefully I have enough glue left in this bottle to do that. Come on. Okay. It's been a while since I did my prototype, so I think I may have done it a little differently that time. I'm not sure. That's all right. We're going to go with the flow. Just going to wrap it around it. Ugh, it's the only thing I don't like about Fabri-Tac. It's just, ugh, it sticks to you. See, and if you're using Fabri-Tac, it will go through your fabric too, especially if you do it very heavy at all. So that's why I like to do the gluing on the back side, because you don't really need it on that side. Okay. I don't think I got that one quite tight enough up here. Wrap that a little bit tighter up here. Okay, that worked. Oop. Guess I just needed to wrap it tighter all the way down. Okay, there we go. Then what I did is where it's doubled up here on the ends. Let me find some other scissors. I did not realize you guys had gone crooked. Boy, I have no idea how long you've been crooked. Sorry about that. Geesh. I hope it wasn't like that for very long. That's okay. Just tilt your head, right? Just tilt your head while you watch it. Day in the life. Okay. I'm just cutting off the part that I folded over that's doubled up. Okay. And then this, I'm just going to miter off the corners a little bit. Okay. And then I'll put a little glue here. Maybe. And wrap that over. That way I don't have any raw edges peeking out. I'll put a clothespin on that, just hold that for a minute. And then, so here's where it's doubled up again. I'm just going to trim off what's doubled up. I'm just cutting down the edge. I'll pull up this part that's doubled up. Miter this just a little bit. And then give it some glue. Okay, and I'm going to bring over my journal and, yep, dry enough. Okay, I can put the folds back in it a little bit. See how pretty that is on the back side? And I'm just going to place it where it would go. Okay. I wanted to make sure everything was going to fit right before I stuck the glue on there. So, and then I'm just going down this side part, the wraparound part, not the middle, not the back of it, not the spine part, just the wraparound part. I'm putting some glue on there. Put it back in its place. Okay, and you may want to get some clothespins or something and clip that down if you want to, just to ensure that it dries right where you want it. Use that one for gluing too many times. Okay, make sure it adheres. I don't want any gaps right here. Make sure it's fully glued down. And then making sure that it's completely flat against the spine. Push all of your folders to where they make a nice straight edge, okay? Push them all up because they are kind of squirrely. I'm not putting any glue on these folders, and the reason I'm doing that is to allow the journal to open and close more freely. So it's almost like doing a hollow back spine in a book. Let's see. I don't have one handy, or I would show you. Anyway, so I'm not putting any glue on the spine or back here on the spines of my book. I'm only going to put more glue now on my wraparound part. do the same thing I did on the other one. I want to make sure that it's meets up where it needs to meet up, both the top and the bottom. Clip it if you need to. And just keep running your hands back and forth, up and down, making sure that it adheres properly. Okay, all right. So I'm going to give that some time to dry before I mess with it too much more. Okay, and then I'm going to get some embellishment things ready, and I'm going to show you where all I put the rest of my embellishing, and hopefully wrap this up here in the next few minutes. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're all glued nice and tight. I have looked and looked for a few things and I can't seem to find it. Anyway, sorry, I'm trying to get back to focusing. Okay, so flipping through my prototype, and then we'll talk about what I put on the rest of the pages in here. So inside here, let me bring them both into camera. There we go. We should have this strip of little square embellishments left. So I used one of those inside here. I used the one that had the sand background instead of a striped background because I put striped paper there. And I backed this one with cheesecloth. When I do this one, I'll probably back it with some of that burlap. Okay, so that's all I put there. On the inside, I just have a tag down in the center, and that will go down in there. And the tag I used was from this page. Okay, so that's the one that has the mackerel advertisement and the little square cards. So that's the tag I used, and all I did was take one of the tabs and glued it to the top. Okay, so that goes down here in the middle one. The big tag in the back is just the full-size tag, this one, and I didn't cut them apart. All I did was cut the whole thing out, folded down the middle, glued it together. Okay, I gave it an eyelet and some sari silk. Okay, super easy. Okay, then for this pocket here, if you have a pocket right here, if you didn't glue yours on solid, if you glued yours on like I did, then you have a side pocket. And this was super easy. I took a piece of the leftover file folder or a piece of cardstock, and I just cut it to fit inside here. And it just so happened that it worked out perfectly to use these square ones on my little card. So I put one on the front, one on the back, and then I just put a little eyelet on there, and I just had a little charm. I put that on there with a bulb pin, but you know, you don't have to do all that. Just staple a piece of ribbon on there if you want to. The tab, the way I got the tab is I just traced one of my file folder tabs onto my scrap or my cardstock, so it sort of looked like a file folder tab. Okay, so I just used up those little square embellishments or square tags to put right there. Okay, so easy peasy, they're on the front. Let's flip it open. And then on this flap here, this part was real easy to do. Just take some of your scrap and cut it into a strip and hold it down on there and mark it, cut it, and then just glue on the edges. Gives you a nice cute little tuck spot right there. Okay, just a strip of paper, that's all that is. And then I took one of the circular embellishments. It was this one. I cut that out. Well, actually, I didn't cut it out. Actually, I think I punched it with my circle punch, inked it, and just put a little spot of glue on it where it touched the little band. Okay. And then this is just one of the embellishments that's in the kit. Tuck that right in there. Okay. All right. Let's move forward. Just showing you, you don't need to see me glue more and more paper on, okay? You can handle it from here. I have faith in you. So that piece, that's just another one of those square embellishments off the strip. Backed it with some cheesecloth or backed it with some burlap. I had a little ribbon stapled to it before I glued it on. Just like that. This inside here, these have already been done for you. Those are these tags. Okay, so we just used this a minute ago. That's these 3 tags right here. Stapled a ribbon on them. You know, I cut them out, inked them, stapled a ribbon on them, and they fit right down in there. Moving forward, inside this pocket is, the only thing I stuck in there was the envelope. It comes on a sheet by itself. The large envelope does. And I just cut it out and inked it up. I don't even have anything in there yet. And that's what I placed inside that pocket. Okay. This little embellishment inside, that's just a piece of my scrap file folder. And I folded it. Used some of my scrap paper that had the seashells on the bottom. And I folded it so that that would peek out at the bottom. This little guy, he is from the sheet that has the square envelope. I just cut him off of the card right here. Put him on there. Okay, layered up some paper. Super easy. There's some more scrap paper there on the back of it. Okay. Just really personalize this yourself. Make, you know, these last parts, these embellishments, you know, do these how you want to. Inside these center pockets, that's just some of the ephemera. So inside this pocket here, I had the mackerel advertisement. Poked that down inside there. And then I also had this page here. I took this card, cut it out, poked it down in one of the pockets. I took the smaller one. Hang on. See if I can find it. Find what page it's on. It is on, that's the big one. Where's the smaller one? Oh, okay. It was, should be running around here somewhere. It was on with the square pockets. When we did the flaps that had the, hang on. Back here. The other smaller card is back here on this same page with the square pockets. So I put the big one on one side, I put the smaller one over here on the other, and I put in one of these journaling cards in that pocket. Okay, you do it. You stick in there whatever you want to stick in there. Then inside of this one, inside these 2 pockets, I placed these 2 matching cards. This one and this one. The ones with the seashell and the sea star that are in the blue netting. And that's what I poked in those pockets. And you noticed in my old one that I did, I used some of those little cutouts there. Some of these. Cut those out. I put a little cheesecloth behind them or a little burlap behind them. Glued them right on there. Okay. All right, then we have our square pockets. Sorry, I just didn't want to carry this through to one more video of just, you know, putting on cutouts. So I'm going to just show you where I put all mine, and then you can cut them out and glue them on. I'm going to skip those for now. I'm going to go back here to the back. Again, all this is another strip of blue paper. And that little circle right there is, I believe, the envelope seal for our big envelope. Hang on, let me find it for you. So on our big envelope page, I had a little envelope seal there. That's what I used back there in the back. You can use whatever you want. I just liked that one there. It matched my sea fan paper really well. And then I took the little Clover Beach card, cut that out, put that on there. Okay, now I'm going to go back through and I'm going to talk about the back sides of the flaps. So there's the back of this flap, the striped paper. Okay, so there's one. There is the inside of this one. Okay, so there was that back. So that's two. There's the inside of this one. That's three. And then on the inside of the front, on the back side of that one, there's four. 4 photo mats. So I just cut out rectangle of paper, and all I did was I used a tan sand color piece of the paper that's in the kit, and I cut it into 4 equal pieces and then trimmed it down as needed, inked it and rounded the corners, glued them on, and that made nice little photo mats. And then all 4 of them have one of these cutesy little labels. That one says Sea Breeze. This one says Salty Air. This one says Sun-Kissed. And this one in the back says Sandy Toes. So I used 4 of those little labels. See if I remember what sheet of paper they're on. There they are. There's a whole row of them. And they were on with the angle pockets. They were on with, they were on the same sheet of paper as these angle pockets were. Okay. So I used those. That's what I used there on the back with the photo mats. And if you're careful about how you glue these on, if you only glue around this edge and this edge, you can still tuck a picture in behind the label. Okay, so I did that on all of those. I made sure that I didn't put any glue right there where it would still give me room to tuck a picture behind. And then lastly, on the flaps, came these small guys. And so these I just used some scrap sand colored paper, and I cut little square mats to fit inside. And then the seashells I just cut from some of my scraps. I just cut those out. Fussy cut some seashells out of some of my scrap paper where it had seashells on it. Okay, just glued those up for some little decorations. So that's all I did there. So that should cover all the back sides of your flaps. And then the very last thing is on the back. I decided I wanted to put a little label back here on mine. You could also put one of the smaller labels, you know, one of these small labels back there. You could put one of these that have words back there. That would work too. But I did this little label, and I'll show you where I got it from. I cut it out of my square envelope. So I just cut around the very edges of it off the square envelope because I didn't use the square envelope. And then I took that and glued it on here. I like the way that turned out. And then in the back pocket, take another sheet of your tags, your big tags. And so this one I printed double-sided because I knew I wasn't going to glue them together. So, and I've listed that in the supplies below. So I printed it double-sided. So I cut it all out, folded it down the middle. Okay. Then I took a few sheets of paper and cut them to size. And then I stitched it in. like a journal signature. So I made a little teeny tiny journal signature, or a tag book. Put an eyelet here, some sari silk, pop it in the pocket. And that's it, guys. That's it. That's the last little bit of embellishing that I did in the journal. I hope you're not upset with me because I didn't I didn't, you know, do the last bit of cutting, inking, and gluing on camera. But it was getting to be a really long series. But this is the part I really wanted to do on camera with you, was the spine part. So we've got that done. So there's both my journals. I'll finish this one up. But yeah, hopefully you guys made one of these too. I liked this project. This was fun. It's kind of similar to one of my other file folder projects I did not that long ago. Okay, it's probably been months, but whatever. But yet it's different at the same time. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the series. I had fun making these. I think this is my favorite kit that I've designed so far, but I love the beach and I love the ocean. So hopefully you guys have had fun with it too. If you made one of these, I would really love to see it. So shoot me a private message on Instagram or Etsy. Send some pictures if you want to. I'd love to see it. If you have a YouTube channel and you made one of these, make sure to tag me on your video. Do a mention with the @ at TheBookVandalShop. I think it's, YouTube added numbers to all of our names, most of our names. So I think mine's like 5592 now, at TheBookVandalShop 5592. I don't know. I didn't add the numbers on there. But make sure you tag me in that so I can see your video. Yeah, and if you're making one of these with me right now, shoot in the comments below what papers you're using and stuff. I just love to, you know, see what everybody's creating. Okay, I'm going to stop yakking, let you guys go. This was a long video. I'm sorry for that. And I will see you soon in another project coming up. Take care, guys. Happy crafting. Bye.